Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. It is time for Star Citizen Alpha 4.0 to go to Wave 1. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for the support. It is truly appreciated, and if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. So just a very quick update video here. Last night, Cloud Imperium's intention was to drop a new 4.0 build to the EPTU just for the Evocati to start with, but with this build being a Wave 1 candidate. Now unfortunately, it was stated that they found some issues that will block it from going to Wave 1, but they are hot fixable for tomorrow's build, meaning today being Friday, and their plan is to still publish the build for the Evocati last night, which they did, and then hotfix in the morning, being CST time, and then start the 2 to 3 hour playtest to determine whether it is Wave 1 ready. Now for this test, they do ask all Evocati to jump in so that they can concentrate all of their efforts to fill the shards to help determine its Wave 1 viability. So before we get to the patch notes, this is it. And hopefully, once they start the specific 2 to 3 hour playtest to determine whether it's good or not, all goes well and it can be pushed to Wave 1. And I think with the way that the Evo builds have been, it is pretty much ready for Wave 1, especially if they can resolve the issues with spawning at Pyro space stations and the issues I was having on stream the other day. But if this build drops while I'm streaming today, around 2 to 6 PM GMT, then I will certainly download it and jump on stream and help test to get it to Wave 1. I mean, if it doesn't come while I'm streaming, I will still try to jump on as well. Now, generally, once a patch reaches that kind of Wave 1 state, that is when the rollout speeds up, unless something very ugly appears, of course. But usually, Evocati is the longest duration test phase, as that is the first time it hits the backers and issues get revealed en masse. So if all goes to plan and it goes to Wave 1 today, we are in a great place to get Star Citizen 4.0 out to live before the end of the year, and that is very exciting. Anyway, let's check out the latest 4.0 build patch notes, with Cloud Imperium also mentioning that they are now done with the playtest phase of 4.0, so the notes will be now public from now on. Now firstly, the mesh configuration for this build is as it was, 2 solar systems, each with 2 servers, and 380 players total per mesh. Now, as this is the configuration that they're aiming for the Wave 1 release as well, I would not be surprised if this is the initial configuration that they will stick to for the live release as well, with the intention then being to push more players and different server configurations post 4.0's live release. Now, they could of course test and push more while it's going through the rest of the waves, but I get the impression that 380 is their initial goal, which, if that is the case, that is pretty much over 3 times the amount of players that we have now, and will be a great number for Pyro, but again, it will continue to increase. Now, testing focus for this build is stability and bug fixing, the new server meshing config, Pyro and the new locations in Pyro, and jump points. And it does state that this is still being treated as a somewhat tech preview test, but once it moves to Wave 1, that will change. Now, I will post the patch notes in the description below so you can see exactly what this build contains. Well, what they want us to know it contains. There will certainly be a lot of stuff that isn't in the patch notes, but it does state that for the AI, that there is a full universe AI animation, audio, and loadout overhaul with expanded AI social wildlines, facial animations, and more to bring further immersion to the persistent universe. So very happy to hear that a lot of, if not all of the work that we have been reading about on the monthly reports for AI is coming with 4.0, and I truly hope to see all of this in the verse with 4.0, especially if various NPCs can then offer simple missions at outposts and settlements, as that would be a huge win for me. Also in the 4.0 build now is the mission system refactor, which they do say is an ongoing process, but it says they are reworking the underlying mission system to be compatible with server meshing, allowing for easier creation and maintenance of mission content, but currently not all the missions and systems have been finished, so a limited number of missions are available on the PTU. And as mentioned in a previous video, once this is done, getting missions working in a meshed environment alongside the dynamic mission system as we have seen with the hauling missions, as they are using this dynamic mission system, that will open up hundreds, if not thousands, of missions in many areas that will provide a ton of jobs for us all to do. Now, also for this 4.0 build, they have included the Polaris and Starlancer Max, which is pretty cool. I think the Polaris would make the ideal ship to go into Pyro. Those pesky pirates won't know what's hit them. But before I finish the video, there was also a new 324.3 patch released last night for all backers on the PTU, and this has some more updates and bug fixes, like reducing the audio mix volume for Planetary Winds. Phase 4 of the Save Stanton is now available as well, not on live, only on the PTU for 324.3, and a lot of polishing for the new IAE vehicles. But for me, the fact that Alpha 4.0 could be releasing to Wave 1 today is the best news ever. Of course, there is still a chance that it won't come today, but that would just mean it'll come tomorrow or the next day anyway. It is at the point now of rolling through the waves, and to me, I think if all goes well as they open it to Wave 1, Wave 2 and so on, we could see Star Citizen Alpha 4.0 released to live shortly after the IAE, which means early December. Getting Alpha 4.0 out to live by the end of the year would put us all in the most amazing state for 2025. Just polishing and optimizing server meshing, finishing off dynamic meshing, which is partly in 4.0 anyway, so it's not going to take that much time post 4.0 release. That would then complete the foundational tech required for Star Citizen to actually be the game that we have been waiting years for. After that, it is just then further polishing and optimizing the technology to push it as far as it can go, while also building the content for the game, getting to that 1.0 state. Now, this is the most significant time for Star Citizen, and it is so elating after all of these years to see this patch finally begin its rollout through the waves. I couldn't care less about whether engineering or any other game feature makes it into 4.0's initial release, as server meshing is and has always been the only necessity for 4.0. Get server meshing working and released, and then the game can come. Anyway, I will be eagerly awaiting news today of the 4.0 Wave 1 playtest to see if it is ready for Wave 1, and I will certainly be doing what I can to jump in and help gather that data to get it released to the Wave 1 backers, as from there it is just the rest of the waves and then live. With that said though, do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. As I say, we will hopefully be playing the latest 4.0 patch over at twitch.tv/SuperMacBrother. The link is below. You are all more than welcome. Come check out what the latest build is like. Ask your questions. It is a great place where we can just hang out and chill out and talk about all things Star Citizen. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you'd like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Cannot do it without you guys, so thank you for the support, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.